There was a silent earthquake in the United States legal system. No media alarms, no breaking news banners, no political shouting match on TV. Yet, this quiet moment inside the Supreme Court has redrawn the battlefield for both the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment, and almost nobody noticed. In a stunning 9-0 unanimous decision, the Supreme Court issued a ruling that changes how courts must judge police use of force, gun owner encounters, self-defense cases, and the protection of your rights when dealing with law enforcement. This ruling didn't just adjust the law. It overturned an entire era of judicial thinking. And if you carry a firearm, if you keep one at home for defense, or if you simply care about personal liberty, this decision could change how your rights are protected the next time you interact with police. Because from now on, the courts must look at the full picture, not just a split-second moment, to decide if your rights were violated. Let's break down what happened and why it matters to every American. Chapter 1. The story behind the case. Our story begins with a police encounter that spiraled into a national legal battle. The case is Barnes versus Felix. A routine police interaction turned into a lawsuit when a citizen claimed that the force used against him violated his Fourth Amendment rights, the amendment that protects you from unreasonable searches, seizures, and excessive force. For years, lower courts across the country have been using a narrow, rigid formula to decide whether police force was reasonable. A formula that many legal experts said was deeply flawed and dangerously one-sided. But the Barnes case forced the Supreme Court to confront a crucial question. Should police actions be judged only by a tiny snapshot of one moment of force, or by the full story of what led to that moment? The answer would reshape constitutional law. Chapter 2. The Old Standard. A broken rule. Before this ruling, courts followed what many call the split-second rule. Judges were told to focus only on the brief instant when an officer used force, not what led up to it. It didn't matter if the officer escalated the situation unnecessarily, if safer options were ignored, if the citizen was cooperative before things turned tense. All that mattered was that one frozen moment. This old standard allowed excessive force cases to be dismissed easily. It protected bad police tactics, and it weakened your Fourth Amendment shield. For gun owners, this was especially dangerous. Imagine being legally armed during a traffic stop, home check, or defensive situation, and a single second of misinterpretation determined your entire fate. That old rule blurred the line between lawful gun ownership and criminal behavior, and the Supreme Court knew it had to go. Chapter 3. The Supreme Court's new 9-0 ruling. Then came the unthinkable in today's divided America. All 9 justices, liberal and conservative, agreed. A landslide 9-0 decision. The court ruled that lower courts were wrong to focus solely on a single moment. Instead, they must evaluate the totality of circumstances, meaning the lead-up to the use of force matters. Police decisions before the confrontation matter. The behavior of both the officer and the citizen matters. Context matters. The court didn't just tweak the rule, they rejected the old approach entirely. This ruling forces judges to consider whether officers created or escalated the danger that led to the use of force. This is a massive shift in constitutional protection. Chapter 4. Why gun owners must care. You may be thinking, what does this have to do with the Second Amendment? Everything. Because if you carry a firearm for self-defense, whether openly, concealed, or simply kept at home, this ruling changes how your interactions with police will be judged in court. Here's why. Gun owners are often misjudged as a threat. Police encounters with armed citizens carry higher tension. Self-defense situations get legally analyzed, frame by frame. Under the old rule, if an officer panicked at the sight of your legal firearm and used force, you had little protection. Now, if the officer's actions escalated the situation, the law must consider that. This ruling helps protect responsible gun owners from being treated as criminals during lawful encounters. The Second Amendment gives you the right to own and carry. The Fourth Amendment protects you from government abuse of that right. For the first time in decades, the Supreme Court strengthened that connection. Chapter 5. The new rule: totality of circumstances. Let's break this down simply. Totality of circumstances means courts must look at the entire story, not just one moment. They must consider what happened before force was used, whether the officer acted responsibly throughout, whether the citizen was calm, compliant, or escalating, if there were better, safer options, if the officer's mistakes created the danger. Think of it like a full game review, not a single highlight clip. This protects citizens, especially armed ones, from being judged only at the moment a gun is seen, drawn, or fired. Context now matters. Intent matters. Conduct matters. Chapter 6. Nationwide impact: police, courts, states. This ruling doesn't just change one case. It forces a nationwide transformation. Police training departments must retrain officers to avoid escalating encounters, especially with lawful gun owners. Court cases and lawsuits. Defense lawyers now have a powerful new argument. More excessive force cases will proceed instead of being dismissed. State policies. States must update their use of force standards. The old instant of force only rule is now dead. And this sets the stage for future gun rights cases, because where police overreach ends, Second Amendment protection begins. Chapter 7. What gun owners must do now. This ruling strengthens your rights, but it also increases your responsibility. Here's what every gun owner should do. 1. Stay calm and composed. During encounters, your behavior before the moment of force will now be judged. 2. Know your state's use of force laws. Your defense begins before a shot is fired. 3. Document encounters when possible. A calm recording can now prove your side of the total story. 4. Use clear, lawful language. With police statements like, "I am legally carrying. How would you like me to proceed?" can protect you. The new system rewards responsible, well-trained gun owners. Chapter 8. The bigger constitutional picture. This ruling is much bigger than one case. It marks the beginning of a new era where the Supreme Court is recognizing that the Second Amendment and Fourth Amendment are linked. Because what good is the right to bear arms? If the government can treat every armed citizen as a criminal, this 9-0 decision reinforces a fundamental truth. The Constitution protects not just your right to own a gun, but your right to not be abused for doing so. This ruling restores balance. It forces accountability. And most importantly, it reminds America that rights don't disappear the moment fear appears.